Hello and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at the parabola function and its basics and how to solve questions concerning the parabola. So what you need to know is the shape, the formula, and what's needed in order to sketch this graph. So let's start with the formula. Your formula is this one, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. This is what we call the general formula for a parabola. Then the second one is a open bracket x minus p squared plus q. Now this formula, if you're given this formula, if you're given the general formula or given the formula of a parabola in this format, know that you have the x value of the turning point and the y value of the turning point. That's what the p and the q stand for. The p also shifts your graph to the left or right, and while the Q shifts your graph up and down. So wherever you see P and Q in any function, whether it will be for paper 1 or paper 2, they still do the same transformation, which is translating or shifting your graph left or right, up or down. Then the third formula that we need is A open bracket X minus X1 open bracket X minus X2. Now with this formula, for you to apply or for you to use this formula, you should be provided with a graph that has two x-intercept and one turning point. Another equation we need is the one that would help us find the x value of the turning point, which is x is equal to negative b over 2a. And for us to use this formula, we should be given our general formula in terms of ax squared b plus bx plus c, because that's where the a and the b comes from. After finding the x value of the turning point, you can substitute it into the original equation to find the y value of the turning point, or alternately, you can use y is equal to c minus a x squared. Now this x squared, it's the one that we would have found here. So it means we have to find x first so we can find the y value of the turning point. Now, concerning the shape, the alphabet that determines the shape of your alphabet, it's the A. When your A is positive, your graph would be a smiley face. That's when the A is positive. Now, when the A is negative, your graph would be a sad face. So we need to know these basics so that when you're given or you're provided with a general formula, you will look at the sign of A or the sign in front of the x squared with its coefficient or the number in front of the x squared with its sign. Once it's negative, you know that the shape of the graph is like this before you even ask to sketch it. Then with regards to sketching the parabola graph, we need our x-intercept, which is where the graph cuts on the x-axis. So this would be the x-intercept. And in order for us to look for x-intercept, where there's y, we substitute 0 in our formula. And then the next thing, we need the y-intercept. And to find the y-intercept, where there's x, you put 0. Then the last thing is your turning point. The last thing we need is our turning point, and we said to find the coordinates of the turning point. These are the two equations. Or you find the x value first, then substitute into the general formula, you find the y value. So that would be your turning point, which I usually put P and Q in case you're given in this format. Know that this P and the Q, so the P represent the X value of the turning point and the Q represent the Y value of the turning point. So I can also write it like this, where I say P is equal to negative B over 2A, or I can say Q is equal to C minus A P squared, where there's X, I just put P, which is the same as the X value of the turning point. Now, these are the basics we need in order for us to sketch a parabola. Now, let's attempt a question. Let's attempt an example of sketching this graph. Let's say, for instance, you are provided with f of x is equal to x squared minus x minus 6. The first thing you need to look when they ask you to sketch the graph, it's the value of a and its side. So in maths, any alphabet has 1 in front of it, has power 1, and can be divided by 1 because the 1 would not change anything. So it means our A here is a positive 1. Because it's a positive, I already know that my shape of a graph should be what? A smiley face. So I know that will be like a smiley face. So we'll start by what we need in order to sketch. We said we need y-intercept and x-intercept and the turning point. The easiest thing to find first is our y-intercept. I just say where there's x, I put 0. So it means I'm going to put 0 here. Let me try to fix this. I put a plus instead of a minus. And this thing does one. Okay. So let's fix that. It will be 0 x squared minus open bracket 0 minus 6. So anything to the, I mean 0 to the power 2, that will be 0. And 0 in maths means nothing. So we're left with -6. Then the next thing we need is our x-intercept. To find the x-intercept where there's y or where there's f of x in this case, you put 0. You say x squared minus x minus 6. So for a parabola, a basic or a pre-knowledge that you need to know is the factorizing. The factorizing that you learned in grade 9, we need that. So in terms of the factorizing, which I'm going to do in another video, I'll explain how to work around this though. So for now, I'm just going to put our values. Then we'll say x plus 2 is equal to 0, or x minus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore, it means x is equal to -2 here, or x is equal to 3 there. So we found the y-intercept, we found the x-intercept. Then the last thing we need is our turning point. We said to find the turning point, I can say negative b over 2a. So here what I need to do, I just need to go and look at my b. In this case, my b it's -1. So I'll just say negative open bracket, put -1 here, close bracket, and then say 2. Then our a, we already determined that it's 8. This gives us 1 over 2. So it means our x value of the turning point is actually 1 over 2. So if I like, I can take this value and substitute it into this equation to find the y value. So let's do that. Let's say f of 1 over 2 equal to, where there's x, we're going to put 1 over 2 minus 1 over 2 minus 6. Then we'll say this gives us 1 over 4 minus 1 over 2 minus 6. Then this should give us about, let me see. Okay, I could just put over 1 here. Then we can find the lowest common denominator, which is our 4. So this is a 1, this is a 2 there. Then this should be about 24. Then this gives me about -25 over 4. So it means the turning point, our turning point in this case would be 1 over 2 and -25 over 4. So these turning points, if I like, I can find them as decimals, but the convenient thing is to leave them as fractions when you plot them, or when you write them on the Cartesian plane. So you can find them on the calculator and say the SD to find the decimal. So you know where to place it. So our graph is sketched a little bit proportional in a way. So this one, when we divide, we should get -6.25. So let's sketch our graph. In sketching our graph, the thing that you need to start with is your turning point. So we're going to start with the x value here and say our x value of the turning point is 1 over 2. Then the, what do you call this one? The x-intercept, the y value of the turning point would be -25 over 4. So I'm just going to place the point here. Then we look at the y-intercept. Y-intercept, I can place it here, which is -6. Then we look at the x-intercept, which we found to be -2 and 3 here. So you start by your turning point. So you will start by your turning point. So it goes like this, then it goes this way. So we're gonna forgive the terrible drawing there. but this is how the shape of your graph would look like. So here it is, a smiley face. So we saw this by looking at the size of A. We saw this by looking at the size of A. Now, the other basics or the other things we need to know is things like domain, range, and when they ask for which values is f of x greater, I mean less than 0 or greater than 0, we need those ones because those questions tend to be a problem for mini learners there. So on the next video, we'll explain the domain, the range, and those inequality sign questions there.